we doing, guys? I wanted to start this review show, with just a nice comment of hopefully you guys have a group of either sports enthusiasts or bettors or just a group of people that care about what you do. Because I'll say, Donnie doesn't even know this, but I'm going to give Donnie some credit. This week, he saw a promotion basically in the middle of the game where if you played the showdown, you basically got double the points as long as you entered the contest. And so
it was 50% profit boost.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
And so you messaged me, and so I just want to mention that, like, you got to always keep looking for different ways to take advantage of the sportsbook because they're trying to take advantage of us. So whenever we can get some back on them with a special promotion boost and things like that.
And that popped up out of nowhere too. It was really weird timing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I also wanted to bring it up off the top because we were talking some NBA personally before we went live, and today the NBA had a lot of 50% boost. They had a special NBC boost because they're on NBC tonight. So those type of boosts don't always last long. Like they've been doing a lot of 50% boost for the NBA season that lasts like 3 hours so at a time. So just be mindful, and like you always got to look for different edges and different ways to take advantage of the contest. I think a lot of people at this point know about late swap. They know about injuries and like minutes projections, stuff like that. But like the profit boost and those type of things are very important if you haven't taken advantage of those. So I just want to mention that off the top because we're always looking for a way to, give you guys an edge. That's honestly been the best thing for me is just to have a group of people, whether it be a Discord, whether it be a group of friends, whatever, you guys should always be trying to encourage each other to get better. That's also, I'll bring in Donnie and Governor, but that's also why, like, I just hate how DFS can be weirdly competitive in a weird way, because I feel like if I got a good player, if I feel confident about something, I have no problem sharing it. I understand we're competing, but like sometimes I feel like we get very, very isolated about our plays, and that just makes no sense to me.
I mean, we share our plays, just made sure we were in different contests. We didn't even have the same lineup I thought we were going to do, but for that contest, I know I made profit. I'm sure you did because that was we did the showdown for the Commanders Cowboys game. But
and there's a big difference between what we do on these shows in terms of like game theory and education and like really trying to promote like a strategy versus like, oh yeah, I want you to copy my lineups. I would never advocate for someone to copy a lineup
unless you let me do it in golf.
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah. It's not copied. It's just inspiration.
Exactly. Now, Gov, you saw I had Gadsden in that dummy lineup. Unfortunately, I went and changed that lineup. So that shows you that like sometimes you're on the right process play, and you just don't end up playing it. I'm perfectly fine with that. Go ahead.
I played Gadsden in my main single entry.
Did you?
Yes, in my Jordan Love stack with Judkins and Rice, and it also had Mason and Jefferson because I was hoping that Minnesota game would go off. I needed a cheap tight end. I played Gadsden.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine play.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
Honestly, what I should have done was turn JT and Mason into Taylor and someone else.
Yeah.
Probably from that Charger game. Maybe even Taylor and Keenan instead of Jefferson and Mason.
Well, go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was 1 point off the cash line this week, and that lineup that did not cash was a Jaden Daniels lineup, so that hurt my soul a bit.
Mm-hmm. That actually correlates to what I was going to say. Even though I didn't play Gadsden, I love the process because I almost played him. Like I'm one of those weird guys that can take like something I almost did and still use it for the next week. I know some people have trouble with that. Like they have trouble with swallowing their mistakes or something they were very close to doing and they didn't do. To me, that's proof positive that I was in the right headspace. Obviously, Gov liked the lineup. I think we even mentioned it right off the show before it actually ended that you liked my lineup. If not, we talked about it off show. Maybe that inspired you, maybe it didn't. But like what Donnie was saying is like 1 point off. That means you were close. I think enough.
I mean, let's be honest. If Jaden Daniels doesn't get hurt, it almost guarantees.
Oh, it was a Jaden Daniels lineup that still almost cashed.
Right. And we were going into it. I showed it to Logan after the 1 o'clock slate, and we were like, man, this got a real shot to make some noise, and it
And
just
it did.
Cowboys
To be
game.
fair.
Yeah, I had
It
Luke
did not go the way it
McCaffrey.
needed to go.
Yeah, I had Luke McCaffrey.
I had a Jaden
and
Daniels lineup that I thought was gonna, like, I had a Jaden Daniels lineup with Taylor that I thought could have started skyrocketing in the afternoon if the rest of them go off, and then it's like, why is there zeros to everybody? Why won't Luke McCaffrey get a ball?
Yeah.
Why is it? Oh, Ertz is the only dude. Ertz got 1 touchdown. That was it.
Well, see, and it ended up not hurting me that bad because I had the showdown 50% boost, and I chose to do that game as well. I did have Jaden Daniels captain, but I didn't play Luke McCaffrey. I played all his other guys, and it definitely cashed. It wasn't min cash; it was a little above min cash. If Jaden doesn't get hurt,
probably does much better.
Yeah. So I would say I got screwed, but yeah,
we've had big injuries like every week of the year to somebody.
And that's where you just got to be proud of your process and be like, eventually one of those injuries is going to go my way, one way or the other.
I've had it go more my way.
Just not happen. Eventually, I'm not going to have a dude get injured, and that's going to be a live lineup.
I mean, I benefited out of Mike Evans'
live
injury.
Except for the injured dude.
Yeah, I benefited strictly out of Mike Evans' injury. I mean, I think it still hits with Mike Evans being on the field, but I did benefit from it.
And usually we go to spread picks at this point, but since I got the lineup pulled up and we're talking about the Commanders game and how much it swung, like this lineup, the lineup we built on stream, Donnie had he had to go for a personal reason, so he wasn't able to finish it, but we got some of his plays. I really like this lineup. I think this lineup would have done better, just to show you that it's not even a Daniels injury that tanks his lineups per se, or like the player himself, but Krosky Merritt most likely plays a much different game if Daniels is in there. I don't know if he gets much more profit.
Krosky is not like that turned into a blowout, so I don't know how much more work he was going to get, but it could have pushed.
He could have got some receiving work since there's no Eckler. There's not really. He has to do the receiving work at back.
I think the big miss was Washington not pushing hurt CeeDee. Because if Washington pushed any at the end there, which, I mean, they tried, but Mariota threw the pick six, and me and Logan had a disagreement on that portion of the game. But, does Daniels make that mistake? Probably not.
And see, that's just a maturity standpoint from my DFS game, too. I've been playing this game a long time. There are certain things I wasn't going to do, and so I'm okay with them not working out in my favor on a weekly basis, because it's I still think it's a good play. Almost every lineup, and I did diversify because I do think that's important as well, but almost every lineup had a Commander or a Cowboy in it. I think it was smart. Most of them had CeeDee and a cheaper bring back for Washington. For me, it was mostly Chris Moore or Krosky Merritt. Obviously, if that game shoots out differently, obviously the scores are different, but some people benefited from that as well. I'm guessing you profited with that Gadsden lineup, right, Gov?
It was my only cashing lineup of the week, yes.
Yeah. And sometimes that's like the saving grace. You're like, all these other lineups.
I do 3 max, so if one lineup cashes, I can usually be okay for the week. But I need it to either ship or I need multiple cashes to make money on it.
Yeah. And
this one did quite well. It ended even with a bad game from Mason and a bad game from Jefferson at a high price.
Mm-hmm.
The lineup hit 172.
So do you think someone's going to look at that though and make a mistake where they're going to be like, I have to let's just say they're like, well, the Chargers have been so inconsistent, but they're a fun team. We've seen Keenan Allen, for example, was really cheap for the beginning of the year. So do you feel like people are just going to jam in that cheap Charger player next week, and that could be a mistake?
I don't know. It depends on the matchup.
See, I will not find myself playing much Krosky Merritt at all. I didn't even play him in the showdown when I had a chance to get him for a decent price, but I don't love that. I don't think anyone likes that Washington game. I'll be off a certain amount of run games this year.
To me, Washington's run game is it annoys me because they use 3 running backs.
That's my thing. Sorry to cut you off, Logan, but I look at the stats and I kind of like the Washington run game. It's actually effective when they run the ball. But because they don't let a dude get all the carries, no one has any kind of volume
And Jaden
consistency.
Daniels can take it, or Mariota. If
And,
Mariota
exactly,
plays.
and like yeah, the quarterback runs too. So it's like it's rough.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, like Washington low key's run game is not horrible. Like I would say efficient is the word for it. It's just great. You're 4 dudes efficiently running.
Yeah, efficient.
You don't run it 40 times a game where that's your offense. You just like have efficient runs when everyone has 6 or 7 rushes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm off of playing it. I don't want to touch it pretty much at all. Even if it was a showdown, I don't think I'll touch it because I'd rather just get the quarterback variance and get his receivers. But
and let's be honest, there's something that most people don't admit as fantasy like players is the coaches don't have to cater to us. Like Washington should be happy that their run game is so efficient. So I don't want to come off like, oh, I wish. I just have to react to it. This is not a team that is fantasy friendly and where I can count on, a bell cow. There's very few of them out there. And even with the Panthers, who started out with more of a bell cow, with Chuba Hubbard, are now going to more of a split. The Lions are.
We'll see. I wonder how much. I think it will be back to at least 60-40 in favor of Chuba eventually, but it won't be that 70-30 it was. You can't do that anymore. Not with how much talent was shown with Dowdle. Unless you trade them. Like, you couldn't keep both on the roster and not trade one at that point. If you were to use both.
That line, they're very similar to Gibbs and Montgomery, where both of them will be used in the receiving game, too. So you can't even do the whole, game script narrative where it's like, oh, is this a more receiving? It's like they both can catch, and they're both trusted in that role, at least from my eyes.
See, I thought it was going to be more sneaky than it was. It actually came in not high owned, but higher owned than I wanted it to be. I played a lot of Ramondre this week, and that worked out for me.
That one
worked out for me so much, and I was like, that's why I'm disappointed about the Jaden Daniels injury, because so much went right, and the last bit went wrong.
That's how I felt about my lineup. Like, I didn't get what I wanted from Jefferson, but Mason was fine. Judkins smashed. Rice was good. Like, I just needed Love and Dobbs. Like, I hit on Gadsden. Like, I just needed Love and Dobbs.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't even need both of them. I just needed Luke McCaffrey to make like a couple catches at most, or Jaden Daniels to just play the whole game. But like I said, I still had the variance of the other Washington guys in a showdown. So it's not like Luke McCaffrey 0 hurt me drastically. It just kind of sucked. I wanted a little more than 0.
See, that's honestly why I like DFS. It's such a difficult game, and most times you're going to lose. So it's just like when you are right, you want to capitalize. Like, I'm sure Gov didn't think that Gadsden was going to get 30 points, and that wasn't why you played him, but you played him for a lot of other good reasons, and that was the highest outcome, and you got it, and you deserve it. But if we start chasing these high outcomes, I feel like that is a way to fail. Like I did that on the opposite end, where I paid up for a guy that I just assumed was going to do that eventually, in Barkley this week. That's like the opposite of Gadsden, where I'm like, oh, well, eventually Barkley's going to get there. When maybe I needed to be like, you know what? Barkley just hasn't got there. He might have deserved to get there last year, or maybe he's talented enough to get there still this year. But I probably should have looked at it and diversified a bit more and said, you know what? He hasn't done it. So is it one of those things where he hasn't done it for a specific reason that I'm now thinking is possible, or am I just wish casting? And
well, I think I was looking more into it, and there's just so many times where the Eagles just call the same play, like as a run play over and over again, but we'll just flip it, and it's like, yeah, teams are catching on. That doesn't work, new OC. I don't know his name. He doesn't deserve to have his name known either.
I won't go that far, but it is a very weird way to run that offense, and I think it speaks to kind of what we're getting to with all the DFS lineups this week. Is like sometimes you have to go with a more consistent, stable thing, and you have to understand that week to week these backfields and different things are going to change. like the trade deadline, for example, is going to trade or change some teams' construction, and we have to be able to adjust to that.
We know Jacoby Myers will be somewhere new. Like that will affect DFS in some way.
Most likely, yeah.
Well, the Raiders seem open to trade him now, and he's openly requested a trade already, and that's been weeks ago. So,
well, for an example, I'm looking at picking up Beck in my waiver claim. Like we took him in best ball. Like that's a guy where you should already be thinking about things like that to stay ahead. Like not that you automatically plug him in, but you have to know each roster. I would say. Donnie, we didn't get much of your live feedback on this particular roster we built. So maybe you can tell the people like what you liked about it, what you didn't like, why you went with some of your picks, and then we can move on to the spreads.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good line. The only thing I would have pushback to is Krosky. That's not pushback because we needed a Washington piece, and if you're not going to play the passing game, you might as well get Krosky Merritt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I don't mind any of this. Yeah, obviously, I played a lot of Rice. I played a lot of Ladd. I played a lot of Warren. So,
yeah, like all of these guys were in my pool. I considered Golden over Dobbs for my stack. Like all of this was like around what I did. I even played a lot of Krosky Merritt. I liked him in that game over the pack. Like I only had Luke McCaffrey in my Daniels stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, I only played Krosky Merritt as my one-off Washington guy.
And again, I don't actually think I think this is probably one of the best lineups that we built this season, and it might have had the most unlucky outcome because Daniels going out really did affect that game environment. And Donnie's right because I kind of missed it because it's like, well, CD still got there, like he didn't snowflake, so it just didn't pop out. But like he's right, Krosky Merritt and CD were directly affected, and we still cast in this lineup. I know Donnie missed, and so maybe that was part of it, but like this lineup came together so quickly this week that we didn't even spend much time building it or really discussing, trying to change too much. I think it was like a runtime of like 32 minutes or something, and Gov's like, okay, I think we said it all. Like this is a good lineup. This is why, and we got out of here.
It was actually pretty solid.
I don't remember if we even spoke about it anywhere, but I know I said it to someone. Where I was like, man, this just feels like an Eagles passing week. Like the environment made so much sense. And I played zero of it. And that just pissed me off a little bit too, because I knew it in my heart of hearts, and my Eagles bias got in my way. It really did. I didn't trust them. And I really wanted to play AJ Brown this week, and I never brought myself to it. That was my and I know it was Eagles bias.
Yeah. That's actually a good topic because I wanted to bring it up too because we talked about it a little bit on a personal phone call this week too, Donnie, when we were watching games together. Like, I love Jonathan Taylor. And maybe it's a bias like Donnie was mentioning with his own, but I wasn't going to play Jonathan Taylor. I think 8,800 is way too much given this offense and how exciting it is and just how – it's not even Jonathan Taylor the talent. I feel like it's almost an easy click now where people assume that he's going to get 30. And it's like he's not that involved in the receiving game. And the only way I think you can do it is if you full on game stack the Colts. And maybe that's the way you want to build. And if it is, go for it. But I don't want to do too many Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor lineups. I don't mind one-offing one of them. And we did that with Daniel Jones in this lineup. But this week I just wasn't going to play Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, he doesn't have that CMC like guaranteed workflow for me. Like
you don't have 5 guaranteed points from catches, and that's what hurts. Like you just don't have any guaranteed points.
Yeah, he might be heavily touchdown dependent, and he might get all of those touchdowns, but it still has to come through the touchdowns.
Well, case in point,
it's a weird thing because like we're in DFS. Like if you're going to win a tournament, you need the guy with the touchdowns. What does Jonathan Taylor do? He's the guy who gets all the touchdowns. So like,
So if you were looking at it from a more casual standpoint, you'd be like, get the guy that gets a touchdown. Who's more likely?
9,500 this week. Like
no way. There's just no way.
Like that's the problem. Like he really is CMC price now, and I'm not gonna say he can't put up the game to do it. Like he's been putting up 30 burgers that pays off 9,500. all
And that's
year.
what-
So
I told Logan, it's like, listen, if Jonathan Taylor at that price scores, 30, I can live with it and probably be fine. The only way he absolutely kills me and must is probably if he scores 40. I just don't know if he has that 40-point ceiling. Like,
again, like I'm not saying it was right or wrong, but Jonathan Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, scored 3 touchdowns and missed the bonus by 5 yards. So if you played him, you think, well, he got unlucky not to get 5 extra yards in that 3-point bonus. If you didn't play him, that's more of a reason to be like, well, I was right. The touchdowns was lucky. So I understand you can slice the pie however you want. You can look at it like he had a very lucky 3 touchdown, performance. Or you
yeah,
could be
I don't
like,
consider Jonathan. There's certain touchdowns, yes, they're lucky. Like AJ Brown touchdowns, you can probably
Right.
consider that luck. But Jonathan Taylor touchdown, if the Colts win, Jonathan Taylor probably has to score at
Right.
least.
And that's more my point on it. I'm trying to really be hard to be like, this is my opinion on the situation. But if you want to go full on, Colts are just a really good team, because I do think they are a good team, and you want to be like, they're this good, I think you should almost build a Jonathan Taylor and Jones lineup this week. Like you have to go all in. You have to, take a Mitchell, and you have to take a Pierce and be like, hey, here's my cheap, Pierce player. Here's my cheap Mitchell play, so I can afford Jonathan Taylor because it makes sense with the lineup. I think that's more important, especially as the price continues to rise. Because I don't think you can play him as a one-off, right, Gov? Or am I wrong?
no, you definitely could play him as a one-off. Like I don't think any of that actually will matter in how you like.
Jonathan
The
Taylor.
real thought is that like if you're going to play him,
Yeah.
I agree you do need a piece of value that you trust to get up to that.
Yeah.
Like that is going to be rough. Like you're forced into using a value play that you have to trust.
The point, I think if you play Jonathan Taylor, you have to say, I believe the Colts win this week.
Oh,
And that might be the hardest part about it. Like,
who are they playing this week?
I have no idea. But like anytime you play Jonathan Taylor, the question you have to ask yourself also is, do you think they will win a football game this week? Because if he doesn't do good, the Colts will lose. I assume anyway. That's how they're playing football anyway. So I'm very interested to see how long this keeps up. And if they can even keep it up if the run game doesn't go. Can Daniel Jones just continue to sling it the way he's done if there's no run game? Do you have any notes on that Washington game? Like 66 points, 66 was the total. I just
The only note I had was check mark to everything on Dallas. Like this is another week in a row where it's like, yep, their offense works with everything, and CD is back. Click.
I did have
Click.
one lineup.
Click.
I did have a crazy, not galaxy brain, but I did have one lineup that was just like, it was close. It also scored. It only scored 141, but it was the full on Dallas onslaught. I had CD, I had Dak, and I had George Pickens, which George Pickens didn't score, so he didn't get there. But I went crazy, and it kind of showed that it could work. Like I know George Pickens didn't pay off this week, but it kind of makes me feel like it could. Just that 1 week that catch turns into a random George Pickens crazy play where he just bullies somebody.
It's interesting because I think if you're going to go Pickens, it's kind of like the Jonathan Taylor thing. Maybe you go CD and maybe you go Dak and you just overload that game.
That's how I played it when I did play Dak. I was like, I'm just going to bring both his receivers. If Dak goes off, then they probably both go off.
Right.
The weird thing this year is I would say is if Dak's really going off, Javonte had a big game to let Dak open it up.
That is interesting too.
That's
that is
point.
I never noticed that.
Javonte's not specifically getting receiving touchdowns or any work that correlates. But when Javonte is having a big game, Dak has all the time in the world for him
the offense
and
is
CD
too hard
or for
to
him and Berg to have a fine ass game.
That offense is impossible to stop. Do we have any news on Justin Fields? Will he start this week?
Does it matter?
Who do they play? I'll tell you if it matters in a second.
It doesn't sound good for his future. I'll say that. I was hearing where Johnson, the owner, was like, even he's not a football guy. Usually he lets his coaches kind of do that. He was like,
Vegas, so I think it kind of matters because that's a Jamar Chase game, and they kind of.
Wow, we have to stack Flacco.
So it does matter. Do you bring back somebody with that Jets team?
No.
Do you just avoid the game?
No. Okay, so Jamar Chase might be the better one-off. If people want to play Taylor, you might just play Chase instead.
Honestly, the one guy I would consider bringing back from the Jets would be Wilson if he played.
So let's look at this Sunday slate. Are they benching Tua? Are we going to get Ewers versus the Falcons?
No. They've said they have no plans of benching Tua.
They said no plans.
Okay.
No plans of firing a coach. No plans of benching. They're happy with what's going on in Miami.
Is Lamar back? Do we get Caleb versus Lamar?
No.
I think he's back.
We're getting Flacco versus could be Fields, could be Tyrod, could be not relevant.
Yes.
The sports book is.
We're getting the Red Rifle versus Joshua Allen.
Lamar is not supposed to play this week, from what I'm hearing.
I'm just saying that the sports books seem to be pricing like he'll play.
Jones, DJ Stroud, Dylan Gabriel, Drake May.
And, by the way, can we agree right now? Please, let's not play any of that Browns-Patriots game. Please.
I'll play.
I'll have to dig into the stats to see if there's anyone even viable, but sure.
Dear Lord.
I mean, what we're going to play is all of Giants-Eagles.
Likely, yeah, because of the chaos.
Yeah, I would play it as a full onslaught for the Eagles if I played that, but
I mean, just from what I've seen this year and the trends, Broncos, Cowboys. So we're gonna stack Bo Nix against Dallas. Indy plays the Titans, so yeah, Jonathan Taylor's fine. Miami is playing the Falcons, so we can jam in both Bijan and Algier.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bears are playing the Ravens, so we might actually have to play a Doomsday.
Do the Bucks have a bye?
No, Bucks are playing the Saints.
Oh, my God.
In New Orleans.
We got cheap Bucks receivers, too. Damn it.
And that's all PMR.
But I was gonna say we have some pay-ups this week too. There is some pay-up guys that you will not be able to fit in your lineup. Last week it was almost like if you paid up, you were paying up for CD. You were paying up for Jefferson. Like there wasn't that many pay-up wide receivers, for example. Right. This week we have Chase, we have Lamb, we have Rice is almost 7,000. I think this is like if you want Rice under 7K, this is the week. I think if you think it's
if he catches another touchdown, it's over for that.
AJ Brown at 6,100, I feel like is going to be everyone's like go-to. But I will play some Wilson at 6K. I was going to say if he's around 6K, I will have him as a bring back in Cincinnati game environment.
So I will say this: we know that the Eagles' offense is kind of stale. And when you've played, this will be the second time in 3 weeks that they're going to play the Eagles and Giants, I do wonder if that is huge advantage Giants, who's kind of figured out that offense last time.
See, I actually think there's like a post-traumatic stress almost to losing a game like that for the Giants.
I know. Like there's two ways to look at it. There definitely is two ways to look at it. It's either you respond and you look good and you look different, or the Giants just you're not a well-coached team, which they're not. And
but see, that's like the narrative stuff. Like there are some narratives that matter and some that don't. I think this week is like tight ends week or something.
Oh yeah, it's National Tight End Day on Sunday, and that is something we will talk more about that. Yes, tight ends everything.
But that's like some people do that with birthday narratives, and they do that. Some things to me matter and some things don't. When you see how upset Dable was for the Giants, and you see the way they lost, and just
did you see Brian Burns? Oh my God!
So I do think that game is a stand type of game. I would take the defense and play it that way, where the Giants just don't.
They should trade Burns back to Carolina just for a bag of chips and a hot dog.
That'd be great for you, wouldn't it?
They should.
Remember when Brian Burns almost went for 2 first-round picks? I'm sorry, Gov. I'm sorry.
Hey man, Burns is. I like Burns a lot.
He's a good player. It's just the Panthers really screwed up that trade.
100%.
Really screwed it up.
If we were going to trade him, even for what we did trade him for, why pay him the money at the beginning of the year? Like, why do you sign him to the deal and then trade him in the next offseason? That's
especially when the previous offseason you had 2 first-round picks on the table and you said no and then traded him for what, 1?
Yeah. See, that's also why, like, even a guy like David Njoku, I don't know why he's on the Browns still, because he's only.
I think he'll be moved off soon.
He should be, but I'm saying like that's a trade where I feel like it should have already happened.
Well, he's in the last year of his contract. If negotiations aren't going well, I'm sure it's about time. I don't think he'll be a Brown next year for sure. I really like Njoku too.
Okay, so I
was about to say we didn't even get a first for him. I can't even talk about this anymore.
Well, that's a good transition. You don't want to talk about this anymore. Donnie, do you have the spreads updated?
Oh God!
I do.
Oh Jesus! Why would you?
I don't have them. I don't have them up on my computer, so I can't share it. But it's a good week for us because not only did our lock of the week somehow.
Did it win?
It somehow got there. It somehow won.
Actually, I know it won, but I wanted to build suspense. Go ahead, Donnie.
Gov also went 0-2. And listen, I don't care who wins. I just don't want Gov to win again. It's gone on too long. He's now 5-9, significantly behind. Not that means it's over. Crazier things have happened.
I do have to say,
you did just see 33 points scored in the fourth quarter.
Christ, Sengun is a god tonight.
So Gov in last place. I am in second at 8-6 after going 1-1. And Logan, another 1-1 week, and you're 9-5 ahead of the pack.
I said it for weeks now. Either I'm going to blow this competition out, or you guys are going to catch me.
Well, I'm right there behind you, buddy.
Well, I'm saying eventually I'm going to keep going. Like I'm going to keep accelerating, or I'm going to blow a tire. That's just how it works. Now, it is funny, ironically, Donnie, that you are cheering against Gov to win this contest because you don't want the dynasty to continue. Yet you are the one that cheers for the Patriots. You have the Drake May Patriots logo. I just find that ironic. That
I cheer for most dynasties. I don't cheer for dynasties in which I personally am the loser of it. I can't even call myself. I'm like the Colts. I'm the Colts compared to Gov over here. I can't get over the hump. I'm gonna need a rule change. I need something to finally get me past the Pats.
Fair enough.
Good times.
Oh God.
Now here's the thing though. I really like this week. I was happy that we profited because I do think there was easy ways not to profit this week. I'm not surprised that show pick actually hit. I think our show pick has actually been very unlucky. I know it's kind of a running gimmick, but I honestly think we could end with a winning record. We
usually finish above 500. There's very, very rare times when we're not above 500 as a group. It's just we tend to be hovering very badly at the start. When we don't have a lot of information, and we can't all agree on where teams are because we have nothing to tell us where they are. It's a tough pick as a group.
Yeah. Now, before we get out of here, I got to shout this show out because a couple of weeks ago I was saying this show got the lowest views and you guys weren't watching it, but we still appreciated making it, so we were going to continue. Now this show actually gets more views than our lineup builder show. We're getting more subscribers than ever. So if you do like the content, I told you I would see it. I have seen it. You can always leave a comment as well in the comment section. After this video, we do have a live comment. I hope it's decent. I mean, it's just some Justin Herbert slander.
Justin Fields. Wrong, Justin.
You shall not slander Justin Herbert.
It's true. Well, actually, I was thinking about that because Herbert is talented. I feel like his team is letting him down. He needs Joe Alt back.
Justin Fields is becoming the perennial leading your team to the number 1 overall pick. I think any tanking team is got to call him up at this point.
Well, it's interesting because speaking of the Jets, maybe this guy's a fan, but Aaron Glenn needs to win. So the Jets are in a situation where maybe they want to keep doing what they're doing, which is losing in creative, competitive ways. But Aaron Glenn probably needs to win at least 5 or 6 to keep his job. So I do think that's an angle.
Woody Johnson said that he liked what's going on with Aaron Glenn. He thinks he's doing good. So maybe Woody Johnson will be patient, give him time. I think Aaron decent enough for the culture.
Woody Johnson has also said, like, look, everything's looking good if we had a quarterback.
Yeah. Like, so it's really just a Justin Fields hate, unless Woody Johnson discredits Aaron Glenn for liking Justin Fields that much to say, I want him as my quarterback.
It's a good point, Donnie, but Woody also fires his coaches very fast. Like
he does, but I think it's interesting that he actually, I think he kind of gave credit to his head coach 7 straight games.
Yeah. And I want it on the record. I'll go down in flames if this is wrong because it doesn't look good right now. I think Aaron Glenn can be a good head coach. Obviously, I'm biased. I've seen the most of him, but that's also why I think he'll be a good head coach if he's given the time. But even I'm like, dude, you got to press the button now. The timer it's ticking. You know, we need to see some of this because I do think he can change that defense and he can get it right. And I think one of the problems is they overrated Sauce Gardner, and he's got to like redo that defense. But if you don't get some wins, it's not going to matter what you can do later on with this team. Speaking of teams, though, I don't think we have that much more to cover unless you guys have something. So I'll get on to just ending the show so we can watch some NBA basketball tonight, if that's all right with you.
That's good with me. I am done. I have nothing to do.
All right, Gov, you ready?